Back in Texas, Republicans who remained at the state's capital have authorized finding and bringing back Democrat lawmakers, even under warrant of arrest, if that is what's needed. They say their political opponents are playing games and abandoning their duties as elected officials.
The Texas House immediately got to work last Thursday in the special session called by Governor Abbott. Our members had a busy weekend this past weekend, passing bills out of committee so they could make it to full consideration by the House. Unfortunately, this incredible work came to a halt due to the Democrats fleeing on a private plane for an all-expense-paid vacation to Washington, D.C., and breaking the quorum that allows us to do the people's business in the Texas House. Make no mistake, this is not about one particular bill. This is political theater by and for Texas Democrats. As legislators, it's our duty to show up and do the people's work. These Democrats have walked off the job twice now and abandoned their obligation to represent you.
Joining us now for more on this story is the Rights Correspondent to AFUA, ADOM. AFUA, great to see you. We saw Vice President Kamala Harris, with a surprise visit there to the Democrats from Texas. However, we do know that President Biden has also spoken on this issue. Tell us a bit about what the president has said so far on voting rights.
Yes, well, President Biden made a very fiery speech yesterday about this whole issue of voting rights. We know the Democrats are trying to push a reform which is being filibustered at the moment by the Republicans. Now, in Philadelphia, in this speech, he warned that American democracy was facing its biggest threat since the Civil War. He said there's an unfolding assault taking place in America today, an attempt to suppress and subvert the right to vote and fair and free elections. He condemned the efforts by those 17 Republican-controlled states to pass laws curtailing when and where people can vote. Laws that are framed as a response to the result of the 2020 election, where we saw people voting by mail in huge numbers, where we saw President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris taking the White House. And we also saw Donald Trump reporting what's been called the big lie, that the election was somehow stolen from him.
AFUA, are we now in the realms of hyperbole, or how true is the allegation that democracy is in danger?
And that is a very good question. Now, the allegation that democracy is in danger is obviously a very, very grave one. And it's justified by Trump's persistence in pushing what has been called the big lie, that the election was stolen from him, that it was rigged, and that he won, and that because of the mail-in votes, that they were somehow illegal, and therefore he has won the election, and the election has been stolen. Now, a skeptical judge on Monday demanded that Trump-allied lawyers provide proof of this election being stolen, provide proof that says that he has lost the election. They haven't been able to do that yet. But if you have an opponent saying that, look, I won an election and it has been stolen, and that persuading the party to try and block voters' rights, then the allegation that democracy is at stake, is a grave one, but could be ringing true at this moment.
And AFUA, what is the hope there if this bill on voting reform is passed?
Well, this bill on voting reform that the Democrats want to get through is basically an effort to make sure that people can continue to vote by mail, can continue to vote not in person if they feel fit. And it's also to encourage more black and brown people across America to vote who have long been suppressed in voting. Like I said, this is being filibustered at the moment. You have Texan lawmakers have all fled to Washington instead of being in Texas where they can vote to get this through. Now, it's thought that they're going to be staying away until at least August, and that's when this expires and the Democrats will have to start all over again. Whether the Democrats can push this through with amendments or persuade the Texan governors to get back to Texas and vote remains to be seen.
Well, we wait to see it. Thank you, AFUA, for bringing us the updates on that story.